Now, the history books seem to be full of men who have stood up to the mighty British Empire, people like George Washington and Mahatma Gandhi, but you don't hear a lot about the women who took leadership in times of war against the mighty British. So today we're going to talk about a courageous woman from Africa who was a leader and a general to her people. Her name was Yaa Asantewaa. Nana Yaa Asantewa's rise to prominence came in the year 1900, a very troubling time for the Ashanti nation. The British Empire, having managed to capture and exile their king, Nana Prempeh I, sent a representative to call a meeting with all the Ashanti tribe. At this meeting, the Queen's representative, Sir Frederick Hodson, finally believing the Ashanti spirit to be broken, demanded to be given the golden sitting stool of the Ashanti to sit on. This would later result in the death of thousands, for Lord Hodson truly had no concept of what he was asking. In the Ashanti culture, a sitting stool was more than just a chair made by an underachiever. It was believed to house the spirit of its owner. Each stool was unique and was carved to reflect the ideas, important events, and status of its owner. It was like a Facebook page, except you could actually be productive while you were on it, and it didn't get updated with new carvings every 7 seconds. But if an Ashanti sitting stool embodied the spirit of a person, then the golden stool embodied the spirit of a nation. The Ashanti believed the golden stool to be created by the gods, after which it floated down from heaven to serve as a symbol of the king's power, authority, and divine right. Not even the kings themselves actually sat on the stool, and in ceremonies it was given a throne of its own beside the chair had its own chair. The golden stool really was the physical representation of all that was Ashanti. It would be like if Canada had like an actual leaf that they kept somewhere, or if Russia actually had like a golden hammer and sickle. That would be badass, right? Or if Nigeria had like a sacred email account from which their Nigerian princes could offer you a deal in which they put money into your account. And then someone from the British Empire comes along and they're all like, "Bring me the Russian sickle so that I may scratch my testicles," or "Bring me the Canadian leaf so that I may smoke this dime bag," or "Give me the password to the Nigerian email so that I can send this link to the Queen. Dear Queen, I am sending you a link to a video entitled 2 Girls, 1 Cup. I won't go into detail, but please have the royal artist do your portrait as you are watching it." So while there are several versions of what Lord Hodson said at that meeting, the general idea of what he said was, "Where is the golden stool? I am the representative of paramount power. Why have you not taken advantage of my visit to Kumasi to bring me the stool to sit upon? Why am I being relegated to this chair?" What the Ashanti heard was, "Even though the golden stool is sacred, even though it captures the meaning of all that is you, even though it is so holy that it's never been touched by your kings or even the crown, bring me the stool so that I can put my pink sweaty Victorian butt cheeks all over the most important item in your kingdom in formal recognition of your new role as England's bitch." Now, strangely, the Ashanti seemed to take issue with this. They were all like, "I hope that pith helmet is strapped on tight. I wouldn't want it to fall off when you kiss my ass." They were like that on the inside. Not one single chieftain spoke up in defense of their king or the stool. Enter Yaa Asantewaa. A grandmother in her 60s, Nana Yaa Asantewaa was the ruler of the Ajisu people within the Ashanti Empire. Having already lived through 2 of the 3 previous Ashanti wars, Yaa Asantewaa saw for herself how rapidly the British Empire's influence could spread over the African continent. At a subsequent meeting to decide the best course of action, Nana Yaa Asantewaa spoke the words that she is most known for today. "Now I have seen that some of you fear to go forward and fight for our king. If it were in the old days, the days of Osei Tutu, Okomfo Anoke, and Opukuware, chiefs would not sit down to see their king taken off without firing a shot. No white man could have dared speak to a chief of the Ashanti the way the governor spoke to you chiefs this morning. Is it true that the bravery of the Ashanti is no more? I cannot believe it. It cannot be. I must say this. If you, the men of Ashanti, will not go forward, then we will. We, the women, will. I shall call upon my fellow women. We will fight the white man, and we will fight until the last of us falls on the battlefield." Now, as you can imagine, the men, after hearing this, felt like some straight-up bitches. And finally, they were like, "Okay, fine, I guess we'll grow a pair." And they set about forming an army with Yaa Asantewaa as its commander-in-chief, passionate, determined, and patriotic, Yaa Asantewaa was successful in inspiring the enraged citizens of her nation to join her rank. In many ways, she really was like the William Wallace of the pre-Ghana territories. She was all like, "They may take our lives, but they'll never take our little shiny stool." What? That was given to us by the gods as a symbol of our king's divine right and authority. Oh. Yeah, fuck that. Their first engagement came with Lord Hodgson's deputy, Cecil Armitage, who was found in a village diplomatically beating nearby children to ascertain the Golden Stool's location. Not really the best way to get caught by a grandmother wielding an army of 5,000. I know this looks bad. They were immediately ambushed. The survivors managed only to escape to a nearby fort after a freak rainstorm. There, the British were well defended with 3-foot walls, lookout towers, and the Maxim gun, the world's first fully automatic machine gun turret. Not to be confused with the Maxi Pad, which was invented for pretty much the exact opposite reason. But for all the Maxim gun's advantages, it wasn't edible, and Yaa Asantewaa dug her forces in for a siege that lasted months, prohibiting food or supplies from entering the fort. Now, during that time, hundreds of British soldiers, missionaries, government officials, and their Nigerian allies died while fighting starvation and diseases like smallpox as the waste and the bodies began to accumulate. But in the end, Yaa Asantewa's conscience got the better of her. When they asked for the sick women and children to be let go, she relented. Little did she know, they had a message to deliver to the coast where the full might of the British Army was waiting and came in and finally broke the siege. After the capture of her only daughter, Yaa Asantewaa surrendered, and she was exiled to the Seychelles along with her king. There she lived until her death, and the Ashanti tribe was made officially a British protectorate. Yet even considering these things, Yaa Asantewa's mission had been fulfilled. The British Empire never got their hands on the Golden Stool. Later, the Ashanti tribe would regain their freedom as part of Ghana when it declares its independence from British rule. Even to this day, Nana Yaa Asantewaa is celebrated in her native Ghana, and deservedly so. Courageous, vigilant, and determined, she's known as a strong older woman who stood up at a time when younger, stronger men did not have the courage to do so.
Why haven't you taken advantage of my visit to bring me the stool?
Taken advantage of his visit. Like they just couldn't wait to give him their most sacred possession. Representative is coming to Kumasi. We can use that opportunity to give him the stool. Hey, oppression!